Hi kids, how are you all doing? This is the second science lecture video for semester 2 and we're still talking about vertebrates. The last group of vertebrates that we talked about was the amphibians group. First, what's a vertebrate? All animals having bones inside their body are called vertebrates. So, an animal with a backbone is called a vertebrate, like giraffes, birds, and snakes. Invertebrates are animals without a backbone. Crabs, worms, and butterflies are invertebrates. Vertebrates, or animals with a vertebral column. The vertebral column is also called a spine or a backbone. So, vertebrates are classified into 5 groups: fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. The first group of vertebrates is the fish group. Fish are cold-blooded vertebrates that live inside the water. These animals use their tail fin to swim forward inside the water. Their fins help them swim. Their bodies are covered with separated, disconnected, or detached scales. Fish breathe with their gills. When they breathe, water goes inside their mouth, and then the gills absorb oxygen from water before water leaves the fish body through the gill opening. Fish are oviparous, meaning that they reproduce by laying eggs in water. The second group of vertebrates that we talked about was the amphibians group. Which animals belong to the amphibians group? Frogs, toads, caecilians, salamanders, and newts are amphibians. Why do we consider these animals as amphibians? Amphibians have a moist, shiny, slimy skin. Amphibians are oviparous animals since they reproduce by laying eggs inside the water. Amphibians have 2 stages of life. Young amphibians, or larvae, live inside the water only, while adults, big amphibians, live in water and on land. Young amphibians use their gills to breathe and their fins to swim. Adult amphibians use their legs to move and their lungs and moist skin to breathe. Amphibians are cold-blooded animals since they do not have a fixed body temperature. Their body temperature depends on the temperature of the surrounding. Amphibians change a lot during their life cycles. Here is the baby amphibian, which is the tadpole, the baby frog. This is a tadpole. And here is the big frog, the adult frog. They look very different. Amphibians go through a big change during their life cycles. They transform and change a lot. That's what we call metamorphosis. So, metamorphosis is the change that amphibians go through during their lives. Here is a video showing the metamorphosis of frogs. The tadpoles use their fins to swim and their gills to breathe. Tadpoles change a lot and grow into an adult frog that moves with its legs and breathes with its lungs. So this process again is called metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is the change that amphibians go through during their lives. Let's compare 2 different animals. The newt that belongs to the amphibians group and the goldfish that belongs to the fish group. Both animals are vertebrates. They have a backbone. Both are oviparous animals, meaning that they lay eggs, and both are cold-blooded animals. The newt uses its legs to move, while the fish uses its fins to move. The newt has a shiny, slimy, moist skin, while the fish has detached scales or disconnected scales. The newt uses its lungs to breathe. The fish uses its gills to breathe. Which vertebrates group are we going to talk about today? Reptiles, that's right. Crocodiles, snakes, iguanas, and tortoises belong to the reptiles group. Most reptiles live on land, while few live in water like this sea turtle. Sea turtles are animals or are reptiles that live inside the water. Sea turtles still need to go out of the water to breathe. This means that reptiles use their lungs to breathe. All reptiles, snakes, crocodiles, turtles, tortoises, lizards, breathe with their lungs. So, even if sea turtles live inside the water, they still need to leave the water to get the oxygen they need and breathe. What covers the reptile's body? The first figure shows the skin of a crocodile. The second one shows the skin of a chameleon, which is also a reptile. So crocodiles and chameleons belong to the reptiles group. As you can see, these animals' bodies are covered with scales, but this time the scales are connected to each other. They look strong, they look dry, they look connected and attached to each other. So we say that reptiles are covered with connected or attached scales. Reptiles are covered with dry, connected scales. How do reptiles reproduce? This young crocodile is hatching out of an egg. This tells us that reptiles are oviparous animals. Reptiles reproduce by laying eggs on land. Let me remind you that fish and amphibians lay eggs in water, but reptiles lay eggs on land. These eggs have a strong shell to protect the babies inside the eggs. Reptiles do not care for their young, for their babies, and as you can see in this picture, we have the baby sea turtles returning to water after hatching from their eggs. This group of vertebrates is also classified into other groups. We have 5 different groups of reptiles: turtles, tortoises, lizards, snakes, and alligators. Turtles, as we said before, breathe air like all other reptiles, and they also lay their eggs on land like all other reptiles. Turtles live near the water or inside the water, while tortoises live on land. So what's the difference between a turtle and a tortoise? Turtles live in or near water, while tortoises live on land. Lizards with this long body with a tail, and they look like salamanders. Snakes with no legs at all, and we have the alligators. So turtles, tortoises, lizards, snakes, and alligators are the 5 groups of reptiles. In the first side, this is a turtle, since, as we said, turtles live in water. In the second side, this is a tortoise living on land. Again, for the last time, what did we learn today about reptiles? Reptiles are vertebrates. They have a backbone. Reptiles are covered with dry, connected, strong scales. Reptiles reproduce by laying eggs on land. Reptiles are cold-blooded animals like fish and amphibians. They do not have a fixed body temperature. Their body temperature depends on the temperature of the environment. Reptiles are classified into 5 groups: turtles, tortoises, lizards, snakes, and alligators. Let's compare and contrast two different animals one more time. We have on the first side the anaconda that belongs to the reptiles group, and in the second side the Colorado River toad that belongs to the amphibians group. Let's start with the similarities. How is the anaconda and the toad similar? Both are oviparous, they lay eggs, and both are cold-blooded. What about differences? The anaconda is covered with connected scales, while the toad has a moist, slimy, shiny skin. The anaconda uses its lungs only to breathe, but the toad uses its lungs and its moist skin to breathe. Now you should be able to talk about the reptile's body. Reptiles are vertebrates with a body covered with connected, strong scales. Some reptiles have legs, others, like snakes, do not have legs. Talk about the 5 groups of reptiles: turtles, tortoises, lizards, snakes, and alligators. Turtles are reptiles that live in or near water. Tortoises are reptiles that live on land. And that's it for today. Thank you for watching me. Bye bye.